draft lottery is coming. Too soon, Ottawa? Because, yeah, well...
Look at those odds. That's not what it used to be. This is our new process, of course.
Yeah, the Sens have technically locked up no worse than a top 4 pick, but that selection will go to the Colorado Avalanche. So, with that, we're going to have a lot of red, white, and blue teams kicking off the draft here in 2019. Brian Lawton and Darren Pag inside here at the rink at NHL Network Studio. Stephen Nelson with them. And I do want to talk some draft lottery.
Okay, let's do it.
As just a few days away from it now.
Next Tuesday.
Yep. As the ping pong balls fall and we iron out the order of these selections, they're staring at Jack Hughes, Capo Caco. Most hockey fans, they've come to know and love the name Jack Hughes. And he's got that beautiful baby face that's going to play New York, L.A. That would be fantastic. Colorado as well. But Capo Caco has made things very interesting throughout the course of this season, Watts.
He is, and he did it when they went head-to-head in the World Junior Championships. Of course, Jack Hughes was injured for a bit of that tournament and didn't really have a great showing, quite frankly. That's not unheard of for an underage player in the World Junior Championships. But still, from what I saw and the scouts that I've talked to, it's not 100% slam dunk that Jack Hughes will be the first overall pick.
Wow.
That's just the way it is. Capo Caco, who scored the winning goal.
Right here.
For Finland, right there, and you see it. A lot of people talking about him in the same ilk as Sasha Barkov.
Yeah.
A guy that used to have the record for a 17-year-old player in the Finnish Elite League. Well, guess what?
More of a man's body.
Yeah,
Big,
exactly.
strong, big lower half.
Yeah, and I think even though...
When he's got the juice, fellas.
Yeah, even though he's listed as a winger, guys, I believe that he will play center in the National Hockey League.
You do, huh?
I really do, yes, from what I've seen. And I think that adds a little more interest to him as well. I will say this about Jack Hughes, though, Panger. Patrick Kane is a very good comparable to him, in my opinion, from where they were at. Not the Patrick Kane where he is now. Jack Hughes has a lot to prove to be in that ilk. But where he's at now and Patrick Kane was when he was this age, a lot of similarities. But one thing I have to give to Jack Hughes, better edges. I think he's a better skater than Patrick Kane was, and that says a lot. The thing that scares me about him is I'm not sure he can step in next year and have an immediate impact, or not have the type of season like we saw from Pettersson, who was a year older than him this year. And I just say that because of the slightness and the size. I think that if you could ever wait a year on him, then it would be better for his development. Of course, a team like the Colorado Avalanche, if they won the lottery, they probably could do that if they wanted to. Doesn't mean they will. But the debate is on, and it's a little bit more than it's been so far, in terms of only Jack Hughes as a number 1.
I would agree, and I do have to look at my notes to say his name right, but Vasily Podkolzin as well. Not bad, huh?
Yeah,
climbs up there as well, and Dylan Cozens of the Western Hockey League as well, kind of a winger, a centerman, a lot of versatility there from Cozens. But when you look at Vasily right here, again, another man's body, like we've seen with Svechnikov jumping right into the National Hockey League, Philip Zadina as well. I mean, these are big, strong guys. And Zadina from the Czech Republic, of course, that played in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, went to Detroit with a 6th overall pick, slid a little bit, but it's what you're looking for. And certainly when you do have conversations with guys that have been overseas and seen them in Finland and in Sweden and what they are, they're all pretty impressive players, and they're all different kind of players. And you're right about the size. Does it help then we see Jack there? Does it help that we've seen Quinn jump into the NHL? I know he's a defenseman and Jack's a center iceman, but there's some apprehension about Quinn's size, and then you see him on the ice, you go, whoa, okay.
Very dynamic.
You know, I mean, these players that are smaller and they've been great wherever they've been. I know I'm taking the side of a smaller guy, but they've always got. I know they've always got something to prove, though. And every time you say, well, he's not going to be able to do that here, he's going to find a way to do that there. The same way that Goudreau did it, and maybe he was a little bit older and maybe a little bit more mature that way. So maybe a little bit of time wouldn't hurt, depending on the team he goes to. And that'll be the feeling out process. The last thing you want to do with a guy like Hughes is put him in a bad spot to be an injured hockey player. And there were some moments this year that we thought the same thing with Elias Pettersson. Is he in the right spot right here? And sure enough, I mean, he fought through it. And it's probably more beneficial for Pettersson to be in the NHL and learning it, so he'll get better even better for next year and know what his body needs to do to get stronger.
There's this pretty well-known guy in Colorado that sent himself back to junior way back when, His name was Joe Sakic.
Yeah, he was a good player.
Played another year in junior and came back and
Not
then
the worst
dominated.
hockey player.
A lot of teams passed on him.
No, Mike Modano played another year in junior. Lots of guys. Even Joe wasn't the first pick, of course. He was a mid-first round, but Modano was.
Yeah.
Eric Lindros was a year older. Mario Lemieux was a year older because.
And they were big boys.
And they were big people as it was. So there's a lot to be said for that. But it's a what have you done for me lately world, and that puts a lot of pressure on these players.
A final note on Podkolzin. He was the youngest player representing Team Russia at this past World Junior Championships. Captained Russia at the 18 Helsinki Gretzky Cup. Led the tournament in scoring. And then, of course, Kaapo Kakko. He's lighting the league on fire.
Oh, you just like saying his name. Come on.
Kaapo Kakko.
You've said it 900 times. You
He has,
too.
yeah.
Hasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go 5 times fast. That could get me in a lot of trouble, and the network in trouble, too. Jack Hughes and Cole Caulfield have been setting records for the NTDP, NTDP this season
Well,
as
Cole's
well.
going to be really interesting.
Cole's going to be interesting, too. But with Jack and the teams that we highlighted that are going to be at the top of the draft, is there a franchise that you think best fits him? Everybody would love to have him, of course. But if you're Jack, is there a pipeline or a situation that you think would fit his development program?
For me, I would take Colorado for the very reasons that I was just talking about. You got a guy like Joe Sakic, who's a Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame person, quite frankly, and I just think he would be the perfect guy to manage that transition for him whenever it is. They do have, of course, the best chance to win the lottery, but keep in mind it's 18.5%. That means the rest of the field is 81.5%. Excuse me, 81.5% to beat them. So it's not a lock. That's what our lottery system is.
Not a lock. Yeah,
Even though you have the first opportunity. Now, what's the worst they could do, Panger? 4th. That's how many spots they.
And you're going to get a good player at 4th.
Yeah.
So Colorado's going to get a really good player
Yes,
at
they
the end of
are.
the day. The one team that I could see it really rejuvenating their franchise. They need a spark of speed and skill. Who would that be? The Los Angeles Kings.
Yes.
I mean, obviously 2 Stanley Cups, but they became a real defense-oriented, straight-line attack team. Great. If you want to pick up a player that was taught the right way, you pick up a lot of LA Kings players because Darryl Sutter established something there that led them to 2 championships. But boy, could they ever use a guy like Hughes there.
It's interesting.
That would fit pretty well.
When we look at it in LA, that would be the start of probably a new era for them, quite
Just like
frankly.
Patrick Kane going to Chicago.
Yes.
Same type of development.
If you look at him in Colorado, that would be almost in the middle of what they got going on there because they got lots of good young players still coming.
Would that make Kerfoot available? Because he's had a heck of a last little run right here. Another smaller player with great hockey sense.
Another one that I would say, though, that's probably on that same track or trajectory would be the Detroit Red Wings.
Wow.
All of a sudden.
I agree.
You know, they've got some
Totally
good
agree
young
with you on that.